Are you curious what to expect in August? Me too. Let's tune into the librarians and see what they have to say about the month of August. And by the way, oh my God, can you even believe that it's August already? Because I can't, and I don't know where the summer went. Before we do, though, I want to let you know that I have got a Sacred Rage release workshop coming up on August 16th. It is on Eventbrite. I will put the link below. You can get your tickets. They're only $47. And we're going to do a whole Sacred Rage release event. You get journals for you, for the person who hurt you, betrayed you, hurt you, who you're angry at. We're going to witness each other in our rage, and I'm going to give you a lot of somatic tools to process and metabolize that rage. So August 16th, you can find it on Eventbrite, or the link is below, or you can send me a DM or an email or any of that. But for now, let's see what the librarians thank you. We're going to start here. For those of you who don't know, the librarians are a collection of beings that I have channeled weirdly since I was in high school. That was when I was first consciously aware that I was channeling them. What they do is they hold the records for the collective, not for the individual, but for the collective and for the lessons that we experience as a collective. So why does this matter? You might have heard about the Akashic records. Those are like the lessons of the individuals, the records of the individual. This soul learned this, and this soul had this incarnation to learn this. That's the individual line. The librarians that I channel are the collective line. There are collective lessons that we go through as humanity, as a conscious collective. And as we learn those lessons and as we collectively learn how to move through those pain points, we no longer have to experience that lesson again. Collective lessons, betrayal, that's a big one, trust, compassion, sovereignty, all of these big lessons that we all go through. These are lessons that as the collective continues to move through them, we will no longer need to go through those lessons. A question that I guess get asked a lot is, okay, I get that, but what are some lessons that humanity has moved through? What are the lessons that we no longer have to face because we have successfully moved through them? Couple of examples. First of all, this whole glorification of war, this like tribal mentality of conquest and conquer or be killed, that was a paradigm that was on Earth. It was this always the fighting factions, the war, the protective. We've moved through that. As the collective, we have learned we don't need to kill or be killed. We can join together in larger and larger and larger ways to create a safe space for all of humanity. Now, is this perfect? No. But is this a lesson that we're all going through the way that we used to? No. This has, for the most part, been learned. There are echoes of this. There are memories of this, but we are moving beyond that the collective tipping point has happened. Similarly, with the need to suffer. There used to be a collective need to suffer in order to have redemption. The need to self-flagellate, the need to really, that physical suffering. We don't have that in our collective consciousness the way that we used to. We used to, as a collective, believe that we had to suffer and we had to experience pain. We're moving beyond that. So those are just a couple examples of lessons that in the collective have been experienced and alchemized and metabolized enough that we no longer have to buy into that paradigm. It's a paradigm shift, but the reason there's a paradigm shift is because that lesson has been learned. Feel that. The reason there's a paradigm shift is because that lesson has been learned. Right now, we're at the tipping point in humanity for a lot of other lessons to be learned. The tipping point actually on several of them has happened, and there's just a lot of fighting that is coming up because that tipping point has happened. And that's why there is so much conflict right now. So that's who the librarians are. That is the wisdom that they hold, and that is the wisdom that I pull from when I contact them. So holy cow, they're coming in. The way that we just came into Lora is the way that a lot is going to be coming in to Earth, to you, to humanity in August. For August is the month, slow down, please. August, thank you. August is the month of rush. It is the month of rush in more ways of just moving forward. August is like that rushing wall of water in a river that comes and it will knock many of you for a loop. As Lora was saying earlier, as we had been talking with her about earlier, we are at the tipping point for many collective lessons on Earth. At no point in humanity's time have this many lessons been completed at one time. When you hear phrases that time is speeding up, yes, the way you are perceiving time is speeding up. We understand that there is no such thing as linear time. However, you do experience time as being linear. And yes, the experience, the way that you are perceiving time is speeding up. Part of all of these lessons that are coming in, why we say at no point in time has humanity experienced the closure, the completeness of this many lessons at one point in time. Part of it is due to this perception of time, but part of it is due to the frustration, not frustration, the willingness of souls to complete and to move on. In the past, souls have not been as ready to complete and move on. Souls have been more anchored into the old paradigms. We like the use of the word paradigm. Souls have been more anchored into a lesson must be fully experienced in order to be valid. Where now we know change is instantaneous. Change can take place in the beat of a heart, in the flutter of an eye. Change can take place instantaneously. And we are willing to accept that. This ties into the completed lesson that Lora was talking about the perceived need to suffer. We now know as a humanity, we do not need to suffer to elevate. We now know that as a humanity, we can step into that next level without suffering or pain. Because of this, we are willing to finally release many of these old paradigms. And yet, we all came to this point at the same time. And here's what's causing so much strife is not the right word. So much in August, the word will come. There is a faction of you. For simplicity's sake, let's say there are 100 souls on earth. 10 of those souls say, we will complete and close the lesson of betrayal. 10 of those souls say, we will complete and close the lesson of trust. 10 of those souls say, we will complete and close the lesson of compassion. And yet those souls are not consciously aware that there are 40 other souls around them that are completing different yet tangential lessons. So when all of those lessons close at the same time, it feels like the shutting down of so much that we know. It feels like, I wish I hadn't have done this. It feels like, take this back. It feels like I was ready for this, but not that. It's like saying, I am ready to have a baby. I am ready to birth a new being into the world. I am ready to embody the role of parent. Oh my goodness, I was not ready for this traumatic of a labor and delivery. Oh my goodness, I was not ready for this level of not sleeping. Oh my gosh, I was not ready for this level of a lack of support. I was not ready for all of these things. Yet the one thing always goes with the other. And it is this overwhelm. That is the word. It is this overwhelm, energy of overwhelm in August that will hit. What we want to say is to ride the crest. To ride the crest of these waves. We ask you, what is riding the crest? In your human world, you call this surfing. You surf because it is enjoyable. Yet, percentage-wise, the number of perfect waves that you, as you say, catch is very few and far between. And yet, the joy from riding that one wave is enough to keep you in this ocean of discomfort, this ocean of getting knocked about, this ocean of hope that that next wave will come along and that wave will be the perfect one. We ask you to stay with those feelings of hope, with those feelings of joy as you are getting knocked about in the waves. That will be occurring in the month of August. It will move through mid-September as well, but the peak of these waves will be in August. And yes, you too will feel knocked down. You too will feel like you are drowning. You too will feel overwhelmed. And there will be feelings of, I wish I wasn't here. Why am I here? We say this not to depress you, not to create dread, but in order for you to reconnect to that joy that you as humans experience in not only sports, surfing, but in many extreme type of sports. The percentage of days that are good, that are successful, that are victorious in many sports is very small compared to the numbers of days participating in that activity, in that sport, that are stressful, painful, frustrating. And yet you call that a game. Why do you not call life a game? Why is one fun and another trying? Why is one something to be mastered and the other something to be avoided? We have much to say about this concept of avoidance in your collective. There is much avoidance going on the planet at this time. There has been much avoidance in different eras as well. And yet the amount of avoidance that is going on right here, right now, 2020 brought in the era of avoidance. Oh, 2020 brought in the era of avoidance. The collective will be looking back on 2020 with an understanding of the way humanity avoided. Not only feelings and emotions, but truths. Uncomfortable truths, awarenesses. The way humanity numbed. We talk about the alcoholism that increased in 2020. It's part of the numbing. That was only one limb of the way humans were numbing and avoiding. This is not a coincidence. This is numbing to avoid what is here now. This is numbing to avoid the onslaught of what has been building and is unleashing in August. We use the term unleashing with full awareness that it will cause you to go, to step back, to put your hands up, to say, no, 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 no. And yet we say, what about the unleashing of a pet dog? What about the unleashing of a soul? What about the unleashing is there to dread? For the unleashing brings freedom. The unleashing brings joy. The unleashing brings pleasure. And yet when we say it is about to be unleashed, you perceive it as the demons from hell will be unleashed and the onslaught will be so great and so terrible that I must avoid this. I must numb. And we say the unleashing, yes, can be that if that is what you anticipate. But what about the unleashing of joy? What about the unleashing of sovereignty? What about the unleashing of possibility? Why would you want to move into that unleashing being numbed? Why would you want to move into that unleashing being numbed? Do not avoid the unleashing. Experience the unleashing. For all of its joy, for all of its trauma, for what you perceive as trauma is the shift, the clearing, the collective move forward into the completion and the closure of lessons that for years have plagued humanity and have held us back and held us down. And now is the time to separate. And yes, there are other factions on the planet right now that do not want these lessons to be in the past. They do not want these lessons to be completed. They still want to drag the pain and the drama and the slowness of these lessons forward. And yet, they have been closed. They have been completed. They cannot be stopped now. Accepting the closure, accepting this paradigm shift with joy, without numbing, and with acceptance. No, not only acceptance. There is friction on that word. Acceptance is too passive. When you as humans tend to think of acceptance, you tend to think of it as this complete releasing of attachment and a walking away and dropping that resistance and just accepting. And what we say is it is far more active than that. It is actively choosing the joy. It is actively choosing the growth. It is actively choosing to say, what do I make with this now? Now that that lesson has been complete and it is no longer available to me, well, it might be available to me, but do I want that lesson? It is no longer necessary. How do I find that next higher ground? How do I not numb, not avoid, but step into that new heaven, that new earth? We offer so much. August has so much to offer. And yet there's this resistance to accept what is being offered. It is the surprise package that is wrapped. And because it is not tied with the kind of bow that you expect, you are hesitant to open it. The package is wrapped differently. Accept the package. Accept this package. And allow it to integrate into your being. We are complete. We offer you strength. We do not need to be overly soft in this moment. We do not want to offer platitudes that it will be good in the end. We want to offer an empowered choice. We are giving you the package. The package is here. The lessons are complete. The new paradigm is descending energetically, has descent on the pattern. Do you live in friction with this new paradigm, constantly bumping up against walls that no longer exist? Or do you shift and step into this new paradigm and allow the unfamiliar to feel and to integrate and to bring you a different level of peace, understanding, serenity? The word is serenity. The word is the clearing away. Do you accept this? Do you accept the closure of the lessons that have closed? With power, with choice, we leave you now. Wow. That felt like a lot, didn't it? Um, Not gonna lie, I too feel probably the same sense of trepidation that you feel too. There it feels like there's a lot there. And I am anxious to go back and listen to it fresh. Hmm. Curious what this holds. Hooey. Reach out if you want an individual session. I'm happy to work with you one on one. And if you're good with this, be good with this, and I will see you next month. Take care. Bye.